Hey there, Ripperoos. It's your boy Brian Von VA back at it again to make sure that you guys and gals out there are staying safe, happy, and healthy all while you're watching, or in this case, listening to some of our D&D stories. So go grab yourself some tea or water and cozy on up because we've got another doozy. This one's a funny one. What is the dumbest thing you've seen a player do? Part 2. I had only been a DM for a short time when I started this campaign. And as many campaigns start, you all meet in a tavern. Rogues, paladins, wizards, and a bard or two. The usual group that starts out so balanced, and then it all goes to heck. The male bard ordered a drink from the female bartender. I think you know where this is going. He asked to roll to seduce the bartender. Now, keep in mind, ahead of times I flesh out important NPCs, and this bartender was important. In her notes, I had it in all caps, lesbian. My response to him was, "You may certainly try." He rolled, got an 8, and I told him, "She looks you directly in the eyes and flips you off." He said that his character keeps trying. I have the bartender explain that she's married and has a wife. The player pauses, but continues flirting. Now the bartender's wife is usually in the bar in the morning serving as a bouncer, escorting the drunken men who didn't make it home the previous night out. Hearing this bard try to seduce the bartender, the wife walks over and demands to know what's going on. The bartender explains, and the level 20 wife stares directly down at the bard, who is level 1. The wife punches him, and he falls unconscious, failing 2 death saves automatically because it was more than twice his health. A little homebrew rule of mine because I was planning to make them fight crazy hard things in the future. Long story short, he didn't try flirting with any of my NPCs again. TLDR, a horny man flirts with a lesbian and has his butt handed to him by her level 20 wife. Nice. Party walks into an orc armory. A large, mean blacksmith, whom the party had seen crushing the heads of farmers, is standing at the anvil. My wife's fairy arcane trickster walks up and hands him a dagger with no words or context. When I asked what she was trying to do, her reply was, "I hadn't planned that far ahead." Well, at least she's cute. Grappler, brawler-style rune knight jumps off an airship 600 feet up onto a green dragon attempting to suplex it into the ground. Gee, that's a meme right there. Did not account for how he was going to stop, however. Thankfully, the brilliant and amazing party wizard jumped off too and helped him not splat. We were trying to get information from an old hermit that lived in a wood hut outside of town. A failed persuasion check later, and the old man slammed his door shut on us and locked it. The chaotic, stupid sorcerer decided to try breaking down the door with fireball. No! The old man burned to death in his hut, and we had to leave town before the guard found out what happened. So you guys all became arsonists. Great. He talked shit and insulted the barkeep after I told him there was a Remora's head on one wall and a big two-handed sword set off with a slight glow on the wall behind the bar. Then the idiot starts a barroom brawl so he can pickpocket the locals. Yeah, he died. As a DM and player, I'll tell one on myself, hey, good on you. Our party was once put in a situation where we witnessed a wizard performing the ceremony to turn himself into a lich. All he had to do to finish the ritual was walk into a whirlpool of souls, basically a soul hot tub, and then the ritual was complete. I was a rogue with a strength of 8, so I kept shouting to the fighter and paladin, "Grab him!" Instead, they just kept swinging away to no avail as he got closer and closer to the pool. Knowing I'd fail a grapple check, I did the only thing I could think of and threw myself into the whirlpool, hoping it would screw up the ritual somehow. I took 120 necrotic damage and had to be fished out of the pool by the wizard and healed. I made a big dramatic moment of it too, assuming it would kill my character permanently. Nope. The Lich just laughed at me as he climbed in and soaked in the pool, completing the ritual and making him the big bad evil guy. Players are in the big bad evil guy's dungeon. Everything in the dungeon so far has tried to kill them. They enter a room where a group of cultists lay around a circle with strange writings, performing some kind of ritual. Then they hear a voice in there. Enter the circle, and all your questions shall be answered. All of them enter the circle, without hesitation, without any questions. The whole party is hit by Circle of Death, most fail the save, almost had a TPK. What? I once tried to escape manacles by using my boot knife to slit my wrists in the hopes that my blood would be wet enough to allow my hands to slip through the manacles. I rolled a 1 and died. Not a good idea. My group's level 9 light cleric cast Fireball on the fire giant. Wait, what? This was the third time encountering fire giants. Second one in 2 weeks. Every time previous, the party sussed out the fire giants are immune to fire damage. I asked, "Are you sure you want to cast Fireball on the fire giant?" He said yes. That brings a whole new meaning to fight fire with fire. Had set up a puzzle where players had to scoop buckets of strange green fluid from a fountain to measure out the correct amount of liquid to weigh a scale and open a door. The fountain was old, covered in mold, and the fluid was a gross green color. Before anyone can even discuss the puzzle, one of my players shouts, "I drink from the fountain!" He promptly had dysentery and probably died. While playing Legend of the Five Rings Samurai RPG with a huge emphasis on honor and status, one of the players was playing a female courtier of the Scorpion clan, and the group had to hire ponies to journey into the hills to pursue someone or another. The group had to pay a peasant a tiny amount to hire the ponies, but this one player didn't want to do that despite being the richest player in the group. So he wanted to seduce the peasant for a discount. Not a freebie, no, a discount. This wasn't even pocket change for his character, and keep in mind, this game is all about status, honor, and reputation. This woman who's rubbing shoulders in the Emperor's court is going around sleeping with peasants for a measly discount on a pony ride they can afford 1,000 times over. I still laugh to this day about it. There were about 5 of us in the small shop trying to haggle with the merchant. When the merchant wouldn't let up on their high prices, one of the PCs locked the front door. The group took turns attacking the merchant in a surprise attack, killing him. After realizing what we all did and not wanting to get caught, we decided to fireball the shop to destroy any evidence while sneaking out the back. It was the only shop for miles, and we still didn't get the items we needed. In a 5th edition campaign I recently ran ended when the party went into the 200-year-old mine to capture a goblin boss that had been stealing milk from the local farms. Heavy emphasis on the 200 part. The party knew the mine was 200 years old. I told them this. I also described the tunnel, saying things like, "The wood and stone looks very old, as if it could crumble at any second." Things escalated and combat ensued about 40 feet down the tunnel. The cleric decided to cast Shatter on the ceiling to collapse the roof down on the goblins. "Are you sure?" "Yes." "Are you positive you want to do that?" "Yes. Can I roll my damage?" Sure. Let's see what happens." Let's just say Shatter does terrible things to inorganic materials such as stone and wood. The cleric rolled damage somewhere in the 30s, more than enough to bring the ceiling down. Then I put the fate of the whole tunnel collapsing on the dice. 5 or lower, the whole tunnel collapses. I let the cleric roll the die, so they couldn't say I fudged the roll. He rolled a 1. After the entire tunnel collapsed and killed everyone inside, including the party, the cleric had the audacity to ask if he could take it back. First party TPK, and to be honest, I wasn't sorry at all. Throwing myself under the bus here, hey, don't worry about it, it's all cool, we all do something silly, but the party was infiltrating the casino ship at Yartar when we needed a distraction so our artificer could sneak into the captain's quarters. My dumbass self thought it would be a good idea to give myself a black eye and blame a random person. I didn't think about the fact that the guards would question the guy and then take me below deck to ask me some rather pointed questions. During the first session of a campaign, when I was still trying to hit my stride as a DM and my players were still trying to learn the group and my style of DMing, I described a room in a dungeon. I don't remember the exact words I used, but I described a closed door at the end of a hallway. My players must have spent 20 plus minutes going over this door, asking what side the hinges are on, what the knob and lock looked like, if the door looked like it could be broken down, checking for traps or secret ways of opening it. All that before one player facepalms and says, "I tried turning the knob and opening the door." Sure enough, it opened. No problem. My players just assumed it was locked. Maybe I messed up my description and inferred such. Maybe I should have interrupted and told them that they hadn't really tried just opening the door, but they were getting really into character. Definitely made the party feel a little dumb, but we all got a good laugh out of it. He was told to be careful about a nearby sphere of annihilation. He was told to be careful about a nearby sphere of annihilation. He didn't believe the NPC and so jumped into the sphere. I asked him if he was sure, and he said yes, and that it was a head-first dive. Turns out, it was a sphere of annihilation. Achievement unlocked. Darwin called. Hey everybody, Brian here, back at it again, just checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, to subscribe, and to ring that bell to get notified when we post or if we go live. Though if you really want to catch either of us live, either me, the narrator, or MrRipper and the crew, you can do so over on Twitch. The links for both of us will be in the description below. If you want to submit a story to us to read here on the channel or live, please do so on the subreddit r/MrRipper. I'm also taking some submissions for character voices if you'd like to. You can do it on that too, and just say, "Hey, Bri, come voice my character, please." I might just do that. All the business out of the way, I try to end things on a positive note. And today, I just kind of want to say one thing. Never fear, fellow DMs and even players, never fear the power of asking questions or verifying that someone wants to do something. Believe me, I know how it feels to be a brand new DM or storyteller, and you're sitting there thinking, do I let my players just do what they want, or do I make them clarify things several times? Because we've had a couple stories in here that would have been, well, I suppose, circumvented with the situation, as long as you just would have said, "Are you sure that you want to do this? Are you really sure? Now, you do know the consequences of your actions, correct? That's all on you." And I know sometimes that might break immersion, but if you want to stop your players from doing something absolutely fucking stupid, well, this is the way to do it, and it might save a few problems later on. However, it will not create as many laughs as it would otherwise. But TLDR, just don't worry about asking a lot of questions and making sure to clarify things, because people are very understanding, and it's better to fudge the situation slightly than to let somebody completely destroy themselves over nothing, especially if they're brand new, and especially if you're new too. Anyway, all the love everybody, please stay safe, be happy, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.